thanks for joining me today for episode 22 of Business in the Bedroom, a bootstrapper's guide to doing it. I'm your host, producer Jemmy, providing practical advice for the newbie entrepreneur. And today I'm going to share with you my lesson on outsourcing buckets. This episode is brought to you by Flintstone Media. Listen in and let's do this. In the last episode, and with the great help of my production assistant, Amber, I gave you a rundown of my top 20 best tips from my first 20 episodes of this show, including how to define your why, multitasking your business and your social life, SEO key points, and so much more. So if you've missed any episodes, that is a great way to catch up. It's like CliffsNotes style. So that was episode 21. And as we move forward here, I wanted to share my approach to deciding how to begin outsourcing my work. Because as you build your business, hopefully you reach the success that causes the great problem of having too many clients to manage all on your own, right? In fact, if your business model is anything like mine, then profitability relies on it being able to scale with other people helping do the work. I would have to charge a ton more money per episode if I were limited to the number of episodes and shows that I physically could manage myself in order to pay the bills. Like, it just wouldn't work. So I have to scale with enough shows where the individual profit adds up to make ends meet and more. Right? And more. And of course, I'm speaking pretty simplistically because my business has multiple revenue streams, but just in terms of the production, just keeping that side of the business full focus here for this conversation, that part of my business required having team members in order to scale. So how did I decide what work to shift off and what work to continue to do myself? And what approach should you take? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So I take the bucket approach and think of all the different tasks that are required to run my business, and I drop each one into their appropriate bucket. So let's take a look at these buckets. Bucket 1, the creative cornerstone. It is the creative cornerstone of you. It's all the stuff that you can't unload because it relies on your creativity and or vision. So as an obvious example, if you are building a t-shirt company based on a particular creative design, then as you grow your business, if those designs are a cornerstone of the branding and the business of that t-shirt company, then you can't shift that to someone else. No one else can climb into your brain and create your imaginative designs for you, right? It has to be you. Another more generically business-driven example could be building a property contractor business. And let's say you spent years apprenticing and working for others in the space while building your business on the side. And perhaps the margins in your location are so slim that every penny in the pricing of the materials for building or renovating a house really, really matters. Meanwhile, you've discovered a real skill and strength that you have in valuing materials, in sourcing them, in finding great deals, negotiating pricing, etc., etc. Well, that could be a creative cornerstone of your business. That ability to secure such amazing price points from your suppliers is what sets your business apart and is a great selling point. And in both cases, that is such a key component of the business and its direction and likelihood of success. And not only is that item key in the t-shirt example, it was the design. In the contractor example, it was the sourcing of the pricing of the vendors, right? Not only are those things key in each business, but they were also something that is a talent or a skill set specific to you that would be very difficult or even impossible to duplicate in someone else. Anything in that range falls into this first bucket. And this is the bucket that you have to keep to yourself and under your range of responsibility as you consider what else is involved in your business that you can offload to someone else. Now, for clarity, I'm not talking simply about the stuff you're really good at. No, it goes beyond that. It's the stuff that you're really good at that is also a unique quality to you and that the business relies on. So as an example from my own business, I would not put editing in my bucket one, even though I'm a really good editor, if I do say so myself, right? No, what's in my bucket one is my onboarding method, because that's what sets my business apart from others in the space. The process that I use to bring new clients through the show development phase and getting their shows launched and all that stuff, talking to them, consulting with them, diving deep into their background, all that stuff, right? That is a process that I've cultivated over the years, and it sets my clients up to think about podcasting a certain way, to approach it in a certain way, to reach their goals, to see all the different ways of layering podcasting into everything else that they have going on, to find a way to reach those goals and that success. It's a game changer process that is unique to my vision and how I run this business. So that is what is in bucket one for me. And so it's not just something that I'm good at. It's something I'm good at that is also a key component of my business. It's a cornerstone. Okay, now let's turn towards starting to offload some stuff from your plate, right? The fun stuff, okay? We'll start with bucket two. Bucket two is all the stuff that you can offload first. So what should that be? Well, that should be anything that isn't in bucket one as part of the creativity or the visionary cornerstone of your business. Remember, you should keep all that stuff under your own wing. But it's all the other stuff, the stuff that isn't cornerstone. And it falls into two categories. It's either stuff that makes you money or adds to the growth directly, or it doesn't. So the second bucket, bucket number two, is all the stuff that you can offload that helps your business and profitability grow. I'll say that one more time. The second bucket is all the stuff that you can offload because it's not cornerstone, and it helps your business and profitability grow. So in this bucket, I would put my editing services, more specifically, my kick-ass editing services. Okay, I know I'm patting myself on the back a lot here, but damn it, I'm good at what I do. So when I was first deciding to begin hiring a team, I knew that the most important thing for me to do was to find people who could rise up to the challenge of this bucket. Like, I had set a pretty high standard for editing, and I needed to have people who either were really good editors, who had the potential and the drive to become a really good editor in order to be able to have them take on this bucket, right? And editing a show is something my business directly charges for as a service. So all of that is why it is in my bucket number two. In fact, before I had fully mapped out my bucket analogies in my brain, this was my first aha light bulb moment. I realized that a particular client, who shall not be named because I didn't ask permission, but this particular client, they pay me to record, to edit, and to publish several of their shows. And they pay me a very healthy rate, due in great part to my level of skill and experience. So if I hire a team member who is already skilled or shows the potential for the skill and train them to then handle those responsibilities, three things happen. One, I pay them at a rate that is not only fair based on their experience, but with the goal of keeping that rate growing. So it'll be a very, very competitive and fair rate. And I have the space to have that rate grow as they continue to improve and do better and get better and contribute more and continue as part of the team. Number two, that happens. The justification to my client, who shall not be named, it's like Voldemort. They're a really great client. I wish I could name them. Just didn't ask permission. But anyways, the justification to that client for continuing to pay me that high rate, even though I'm no longer technically doing the work, right? The justification still flies. Why? Because the justification for that high rate now transfers from my editing skills to my training and management skills. So in other words, I'm still guaranteeing the same end result, the same high quality editing and recording and publishing and all that stuff. I'm still guaranteeing at the end of the day, they'll be just as satisfied as if I had done it myself. And that is what they're paying the rate for. So that is my justification. It transfers from my own editing skills in particular to now being a combination of my team members' editing skills and my ability to train and manage them and the project and the deadlines and all the things. And the third thing that happens when I hire someone to start taking on these responsibilities is that I am now freed up because I'm no longer doing the recording sessions and all the editing and all the things. That now frees me up to take on additional clients and more shows and begin to scale. Woohoo! It's exciting. Then the more that I do that, the more incremental profit I make and the more the business grows for everybody. I mean, light bulb and cha-ching. Somehow in all my classes for both my business degrees from Tulane, I never learned that. Now, very obvious concept. I never learned it before. Duh. And also, thing number four that happens when I am sharing the workload amongst my team members is that, yes, of course, some new work is created for me in terms of now I have to train people and I have to manage people, right? But the training and the management, that workload adds up to be much less than before of doing all the editing and doing all the record, especially if you consider it as an ongoing basis. I can spend some time training now and then not have to do all the editing later, not have to do all the recording sessions later. So I invest a little extra time now and all then at the end of the day, over time, instead of it being training and management, it just becomes management. So even more so, yes, a little bit of new work is created for me, but it is much less than before. So it's a very important number 4 because when I started doing this, became less overworked and less exhausted, which made my own work, the stuff that I did do, it made it better at the end of the day. And it freed me up mentally and my mental bandwidth to think of other great ideas and to grow my business, which I've done. So yay. So what should be in your bucket number 2? Well, going back to my first examples, starting with the t-shirt company, it could be translating your hand-drawn design into a digital representation for the printing software to take on, right? I don't know if that's the thing. I imagine it's a thing. I don't know. I'm not in t-shirt printing, but I'm imagining it's a thing. It could be the marketing of the t-shirts. It could be the sales calls of trying to get the t-shirts into different stores, whatever, right? In the real estate contractor example, however, actually a bucket 2 item might be the design of the renovation in this case, right? You can promise great design. That's something you're very good at. It's definitely helped you build your business. You personally have more than a decent eye for it, but you also know that you can hire someone with a great eye for design who can nail that part of it for you while you continue to focus on your cornerstone skill of gaining great price points for those vendors for all the supplies needed for that renovation now to happen that your new designer envisioned. So again, the more you can hire new skilled team members to handle these bucket 2 responsibilities, the more incremental profit you'll make and the more the business will grow for everybody. It's like magic. But these bucket 2 tasks are those tasks that do take a particular skill. They're just not what would be considered a cornerstone of the creativity or the vision for your company. And they also, remember, directly add value in terms of revenue or some other growth measure. Okay, so that's bucket number 2. All right, bucket number 3. This is the next phase of stuff that you'll be able to offload. So in bucket number 3 is all the other stuff. These are the items that are needed to run your business, but that don't directly influence your income or the growth of your business. Oftentimes, this is very administrative kind of work. So in all examples, my business, the t-shirt business, the contractor business, they all need to do things such as send invoices and pay for services, manage customer information in a system, update and manage their website, handle bookkeeping and taxes, maybe editing videos for YouTube, curating a Pinterest, searching for potential lead generators or sending e-blasts. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, right? Like, all that kind of stuff that needs to get done. Those are the kind of items that should be in the third bucket. These are the things that A, are necessary for the running of your business, but B, don't directly themselves contribute to your growth or your income streams. Okay, so that's bucket number 3. You end up wanting to be able to offload those things when there is enough profit being generated in the margins from bucket number 2. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So that's it. When beginning to plan out your outsourcing, think of all the tasks, items, and the processes that are part of running your business, whether internal or client facing, and figure out which ones fall into each bucket. So first, bucket number 1, the creative cornerstone. It's all the stuff you can't unload because it relies on your creativity and your vision. Then bucket number 2, the stuff that isn't cornerstone, but directly influences your income and or your business growth. And bucket number 3, the stuff that still isn't cornerstone, but it is essential, but it doesn't contribute directly to your growth or your bottom line. So this is often administrative stuff. And that's it. That's Producer Jemmy's 3-bucket outsourcing lesson brought to you by me, Producer Jemmy. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast today. And I hope you join me as I continue these conversations and answer questions for fellow listeners on Clubhouse. I am so happy to hold my Dreamers Become Doers Club rooms and see the amazing conversations and connections happen there. So, well, I'm assuming you're listening to this podcast because you're either running a business in your bedroom or you're thinking about it. So I and your fellow listeners want you to be part of those conversations too. So pop into Clubhouse. And you can also join in with us on Facebook. You can email me at Jemmy, Jaime, at flintstonemedia.com, or leave me a voice message at bizinthebedroom.com. That could be included in the show. Woohoo. The plethora of options to connect always await you at bizinthebedroom.com, where you can find all of my social media handles as well. So please reach out to me and let me help you on your journey from being a dreamer to becoming a doer. Again, that's bizinthebedroom.com. And remember to hit it hard, keep the lights on.